Thank you, Rabbi. Many of you have had the opportunity to receive an email from Dan Valter in one of his many capacities for the Beit Midrash. If you come to our legal ethics classes, medical ethics classes, business ethics classes, you got an email certifying your attendance. People who have made donations, people who have registered for programs, and at the bottom of each email, it says assistant. So either assistant to me or assistant to the Beit Midrash, Dan Valter. Well, what exactly is a Beit Midrash assistant? Well, basically what it means is doing anything and everything to help our Beit Midrash succeed since 2011. And always with a smile, always with conscientiousness, and a willingness to put up with anything, which may include a 1 a.m. email from me. It's meant being at programs to do everything from setting up to opening doors to directing traffic to cleaning up. It's meant managing program registration and sending out professional development certificates. It's meant serving as event photographer as well as caterer. It's meant being a proofreader and a graphic design consultant for Toronto Torah and our flyers. It's meant being available at all times, and that's just like a small part. That's just like, a digest of some of what he's been doing for us since 2011. Dan, you've been a lifesaver over and over and over. And thank you so much for all you've done. Dan? After all these years of trying to retire and threatening to retire, it is my great pleasure to give you the Amud HaTorah Award for your commitment to Torah and the greater Toronto community. Nimshalu divrei Torah la'amudim, shehem amudei olam. The words of Torah are compared to pillars because they are the pillars of the world, and you enable that. Thank you so much.
Rabbi Sam Taylor will now pay special tributes to Rabbi Gotlib.
First of all, I just want to say what a tremendous honor and privilege it is to be here and be a part of this very meaningful evening. And while I was asked and had the honor to make a presentation to Rabbi Gotlib, I do want to say that Rabbi Torczyner, you really have enhanced and inspired our community over all these years. And I just want to wish you emcee Zichron Dov as well. B'chol ma'aseh yadecha, you should have only hatzlacha. Rabbi Gotlib. They told me 2 minutes, which was rabbinic for an hour. There's that little story they tell of this mother. She's sitting at her office, at her desk in the house working, and her son walks in the room, and she looks at him and she says, "Danny, what are you doing with Grandma's vase? You know that's so sentimental, put it down." And he says, "I can't." She says, "Why? Come on, put it down." He says, "My hand is stuck." And she said, "What?" And she sees his arm is in the vase. And she tries to pull it out, she can't get it out. And she said, "Well, if you got it in, you can get it out." He goes, No, I can't. And she tries and tries for an hour. She's trying, she pours vegetable oil, she's trying everything to just slip the hand. She cannot get the hand out. Eventually frustrated, she says, "Gosh, I would give all the money I have just to get this hand out." All of a sudden she hears a clink, and his hand comes right out. She turns it over, and a quarter falls out. She said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, when I saw this quarter inside. I really wanted it. So I stuck my hand in and I grabbed it. But then I didn't want to let go. But when I heard you say you'd give all your money, then I dropped the quarter and pulled my hand out. Heard versions of this story where it wasn't a quarter inside, but it was a little diamond inside. I feel over the last 2 years we've been holding a diamond. And I can't imagine all the money in the world. I can't imagine what could possibly replace Rabbi Gotlib or to get us to let go. And so you're going to have to pull. The community has been incredible. Thank God I have the honor to be there for the last 10 years. And it's been amazing ever since you come. You really added so much to the community. There's something I say almost every time Rabbi Gotlib, he's already laughing, every time he speaks. I always say, as soon as he finishes, I turn to the crowd and I say, guys, one day you're going to say, I remember Rabbi Gotlib when he was at the village shul when he just started. And I always say that. And I say it from the bottom of my heart. Rabbi, come on up, please. Rabbi Tim, please. From the classes, to the learning, to the drushas, to the personal relationships, to the backyard inspiration that you brought to people's homes. I just want to say from my heart to yours, you guys have enhanced our community, and we're so, so grateful. This is a gift for you guys, for your new home, and we want to wish you tremendous hatzlacha. The Keter HaTorah Award for your commitment to Torah and the greater Toronto community from Beit Midrash Zichron Dov. And it says on top, Asisa Alav Zer Zahav Saviv, that you should make a crown of gold, God willing, wherever you go in your new home. And we present you with this.
So I have another 2 minutes, which of course is rabbinic for another few hours. I'm kidding. We'll be all time to say Havdalah after Shabbos. But in all seriousness, I came to Beit Midrash Zichron Dov now 2 years ago, really because I wanted to continue my learning. I finished Snicha at YU, and I felt like I wanted to give more time to learn more Torah. And Rabbi Steven and Rabbi Torczyner both took me in. Rabbi Torczyner encouraged me to learn, to grow in ways I would never have thought was possible for me, frankly. And Rabbi Steven taught me how to be a rabbinic leader, how to be a mensch, how to lead midrasha. It's been really just such an incredible 2 years that I really wouldn't trade for the world. Hatzlacha Rabbah to Rabbi Torczyner on his next steps. And thank you all, everyone in this room who have been here for me these past 2 years. Hatzlacha to B'Kola moving forward. I know that the community is so lucky to have Rabbi Man take me to the next level. Thank you all.
Now delighted to introduce to you all the incoming Rosh Kollel of Beit Midrash Zichron Dov, Rabbi Yehuda Man Shlita. Rabbi Man.
Good evening, everybody. Bereshus, Mo'ay Rabotai, there are so many great Rabbanim here, so please forgive me that I won't say everyone by name, but a special Bereshus, the Rosh Beit Midrash, Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner Shlita, also Bereshus, the incoming Dean of Beit Midrash Zichron Dov, Rabbi Sam Taylor Shlita. So before I begin, I want to say a few words of thank you. I want to thank Shaarei Shomayim, the rabbi, for hosting this beautiful event. I want to thank all the organizers, Mrs. Renee Rubenstein, thank you so much. Everything that you organize is unbelievable, thank you so much. Thank you, Rabbi Korobkin, President Gutman, for also for the help of the Beit for this wonderful evening. And thank you all for coming to spending a night to say thank you to a person that gave you so much. It's a beautiful evening of Akarat Tov, thank you for taking part in this amazing event. And of course, thank you to our amazing people in the office, Aya, and our executive director, Mrs. Esther Lutridge. Thank you so much for organizing this wonderful, wonderful evening. I want to share with you an idea that I think illustrates and demonstrates the true powers and talents of Rabbi Torczyner. Beforehand, a story. 15 years ago, I had the great honor of learning in Hebron Yeshiva. And as I schmoozed this morning with Prime Minister Bennett, I grew up in Ra'anana, and my parents didn't want me to take the bus from Ra'anana back and forth to Yerushalayim, so they gave me the car. And I took their car, and I drove once a month to Hebron Yeshiva. I was a very good student. I never came back. I never used the car for other things other than going to Yeshiva, Chas v'Shalom. And every time I parked in the Yeshiva, so I parked not head first, but rather my back first, with my head towards the entrance. That's how I parked. It was an easier way for me to park my car, not head towards the Yeshiva, rather the head towards the exit. And the Chashuv Talmud of the Yeshiva, his name was Meir, I won't say his last name, but Meir came up to me and said to me, "Excuse me, Yehuda, it's pasnisht. It's not appropriate. It's not right. You're not supposed to park your car head towards the exit. You should park the car head towards the yeshiva, because you should show the world that you're here to stay. You're not coming here for a few days, weeks, I don't know how long. You're here to settle. You're here for a long time, not for a temporary time. You're here permanently. When you're facing your car towards the exit, you're showing the world, I'm here for a few minutes, days, weeks, and then I'm gone. You should face the car towards the yeshiva." Okay. I didn't have a good answer for him back then, but I think I have a good answer for him today. In the Mishkan, we learned in Sefer Bamidbar that we were traveling from one place to the other, so we also had to carry with us the Mishkan. We had to carry with us certain items from the Mishkan. We had the Shulchan, we had the Aron, we had the Mizbeach. And in order to carry those things, we had what's called Badim. It was these special poles that you connected to all of these instruments, and using the poles, we went with the instruments from one place to the other. But there was something very unique regarding the poles of the Aron, the Ark, where the Torah and the tablets were placed. Whereas in the case of the Shulchan, in the case of the Mizbeach, we got to our certain destination, we took off the poles. We took off these means of transportation. But with the Aron Kodesh, with the Ark, the poles had to stay all the time. As the Apostle says, Tabarot ha'aron, yiyu habadim lo yasuvu mimenu. You can never take off the poles from the Aron Kodesh. And I guess my friend Meir from Yeshivat Hebron should ask the same question. Why are you keeping the poles all the time on the Torah? You should be steady. You should be there all the time. You shouldn't show that you're not on the road as if you're about to leave. The Torah should be stationed in a certain place and take off the poles. Why is it so significant to keep the poles as if the Torah is going someplace? Isn't the Torah supposed to be steady? Isn't it supposed to settle down? Isn't it supposed to show that we're here to stay? Why is the Torah with poles? And I want to give two answers. And I think both of these answers tell us a lot about Rabbi Torczyner. Answer number one is an answer given by Rabbi Shimshon Hirsch, and he says the following idea. Why is the Torah always on the go? Why is the Aron Kodesh always on the go? I'll tell you why. Because sometimes people might think that the Torah was good only back in the day when we received it 3,000 years ago. It was relevant only when we were in the Midbar, in a certain time and a certain place. But who says that the Torah is relevant in the 18th century, in the 19th century, in the 20th century? Says Hashem Hirsch, we have to have poles on the Aron Kodesh to tell you the Torah is not only here and now, the Torah is traveling with us throughout the years, throughout the generations, for many, many years. Torah is relevant, inspiring, fresh, and amazing today in 2023 the same way it was 3,000 years ago. And you know what the proof is? The proof is Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner. Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner, he proves every single one of us that the Torah is relevant even nowadays. If you are a doctor and you want to know how does the Torah speak to me and apply to me in the 21st century, come to the tens, if not hundreds, of medical ethics shiurim given and will carry on being given by Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner. If you are a lawyer and you want to know how the Torah applies to you nowadays, come to the legal ethics. If you're a businessman, come to the accounting shiurim given by Seifmans. If you are in the shmata business and you work in fashion, there's a series of shiurim about Jews in the fashion industry. A whole series. If you're interested in artificial intelligence, you'll see already many shiurim on why in Torah about artificial intelligence. And even there was a shiur given if ChatGPT can be converted. Rabbi Veil of the Gabriel Space was here earlier. I don't know if he has an answer for that. ChatGPT can be converted. Ask Rabbi Torczyner. He has a very good answer. Rabbi Torczyner is Badei HaGaon. He is the poles of the ark, telling you the Torah is traveling with us from the time of the Midbar until this very day. It's still inspiring. It's still fresh. It still has so much to teach us. That is Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner showing to us Torah is relevant more than ever, also today. And another answer which is given, why is it that the Torah has to have the poles? Why does the Aron have the poles? Because there's another thing that we have to know about Torah. Some people might say the Torah is steady. It's not flexible. It's right here and right now. And if you want, you could come. It has to be according to our rules, according to our surrounding, according to what we believe is true. But saying that the Hasidic masters that no, Torah has poles. The Aron Kodesh has poles to tell you Torah is not limited right here. You're supposed to learn the Torah and take the Torah with you to other people, to other places. You don't have to be according to your color of kippah and your color of shirt and your set of beliefs. Torah should be taken, spread out everywhere. It should be also with the university. It should be also with men and with women, religious and non-religious, observant and less observant. Torah should be taken and taught everywhere. And Rabbi Torczyner, with his unbelievable schedule, which I don't know how a human being can handle this schedule, is taking the Torah day and night to another place, another crowd, another shul, another synagogue, every single place the person says, I'm interested a bit in Torah, Rabbi Torczyner will be there. He is the poles of the Aron Kodesh. He will bring the Torah every single place. And Rabbi Torczyner's teaching of being a pole is not only by himself, but he also is educating and training us, the Reivim, the privilege of Reivim, Beit Midrash Zichron Dov, to be poles and to carry on and bring the Torah to other places and inspire. He also educated and trained Rabbi Gotlib Shlita, who is going to also take the Torah with him to Ottawa and also create there and do amazing things in Ottawa, because the Torah of Rabbi Torczyner is not set in one place. It goes around and it spreads out everywhere. And I can tell you that Bezrat Hashem, me, Rabbi Sonderberg, Rabbi Standig, Ina Rakovsky, and more people that are going to carry on being involved in the Beit Midrash next year, are going to carry on with this vision of trying to be like Rabbi Torczyner, to be Badei HaGaon, the poles of the Aron Kodesh, to carry on going every single place. We're going to knock on the doors of your shuls, knock on the doors of your houses, knock on the doors of your offices, and if you're open to us, we're going to carry on learning together Gemara, Halacha, Tanakh, Jewish philosophy, everything you want, and the Torah will come to you, because we were trained to be the poles of the Torah, to teach you the Torah is fresh, inspiring, and amazing, even in 2023. Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner, for everything you have done for the entire Toronto community. Thank you so much. I personally benefit for you, and we're looking forward to carry on being together and learning together many years to come, and lots of tzlacha in your new journey.
We will now hear from the brother Kavod Asra of the Bayit, Rabbi Karoki.
Thank you, everyone. B'shus Rabbi Taylor, Mord Asra, B'shus Rabbi Torczyner, Rabbanim Chashuvim, Rosh Kollel, the Dean, distinguished members of our community who have such hokara, such appreciation for Limud HaTorah and what the Beit Midrash has done for us and will continue to do in the future. Welcome, everyone. A special Hakarat HaTov to Eli and Renee Rubenstein for really being the pillars, the foundation of this entire Beit Midrash, together with so many of the supporters that make this possible for us to be able to have a major center of Torah study for our community, within our community, that extends throughout the entire Bathurst corridor and beyond. Thank you. Well, it's been a very emotional roller coaster these last few weeks, but I have to say that vis-a-vis my dear Yedid, Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner, I've been sad personally. And I say I welcome both Rabbi Torczyner and Karen Torczyner, and it's a personal loss for me, for all of your friends who live in the community with you, and even those, not because we learn from you, not because you are our Rebbe, but it's more than just you're our Rebbe, but that it's just you're our friend. Rabbi Torczyner and the Kollel were our guests this past Shabbos at the Bayit, and Rabbi Torczyner got up to speak for the drasha, and he reminisced about the history of our relationship, which goes back to the year 2000. I was a young rabbi. I like to think I'm still young, but I can't keep deceiving the gray hair. My wife and I were leaving Allentown, Pennsylvania, congregation Sons of Israel, and Rabbi Torczyner had just been selected as the new rabbi of the congregation. And there began our relationship. And Rabbi Torczyner very graciously talked about how people missed, the old rabbi, but what he forgot to tell people at our shul this past Shabbos is that it didn't take long for people to forget the old rabbi because of the new rabbi, who was beloved and encompassed the community and cared for them in such a way that allowed for that transition to be as smooth as anyone could possibly hope for. In this week's Parsha, we're going to read about Moshe sending out the spies to scout out the land. Rav Aaron of Karlin used to say that this story of sending out spies to scout out the land is a story of every person's life. When God creates us and He puts our neshamas into bodies at infancy, when we're born, He gives us all a mission. Shalach lecha anashim v'yaturu et eretz Canaan. Go and scout out the land. When you live this life, make sure that you bring back a report. Hayesh ba'etz im ayin. Is there a tree there? Did you find the tree of Torah throughout your life? V'hitchazaktem u'lakachtem miperi ha'aretz. Be strong and courageous throughout your life, and bring back the produce of a life well lived. And that's what we are supposed to do, is to bring back a good report after 120 years, bring it back to the Ribono Shel Olam and say, Tova ha'aretz ma'od ma'od, it's a beautiful land. Sadly, not everyone succeeds. As a matter of fact, most people, if we're to believe this metaphor and continue it to our own lives, most of the spies do not come back with a positive report about the land. It takes a Yehoshua or a Kalev to be able to live a life well lived to realize what it is, what a tremendous gift it is when you live a life of Torah and you live a life that is filled with the produce of this land, both the Ruchnius and the Gashmius, and you come back after a life well lived and you say, thank you, God, for having placed me in this beautiful world. But there's one last verse of Moshe's instructions, and it says, V'hayamim yemei bikurei anavim. The days that Moshe said, I'm sending you out, it is a time when the first fruits are just beginning to ripen. And the message, said Rav Arla, is that when we go through life, no matter what stage of life we're in, we always have to feel that the fruits are just ripening, that everything is fresh, everything is new. And when it's not new anymore, we have to find new fruits. We have to move on to the next station of our lives, and we have to find those new fruits and bring them back and say, Tovah haaretz ma'od. And if I could just extend that metaphor to the Torczyners for just a moment, and just reflect upon the fact that we all go through several iterations, several chapters of our lives. And in the course of those chapters of our lives, we have to make sure that the fruits remain bikurim. They remain first fruits, that life is fresh, that life is meaningful, and that every day brings us something new. Rabbi Torczyner reflected upon the fact that he followed me to Allentown, but I followed him to Toronto. I want to promise you, Rabbi Torczyner, b'li neder, I am not following you to West Hempstead. I am sure that it's a great community. But as most people know, our next stop is Eretz Yisrael, Ezrat Hashem, as will all hopefully will be for all of us. But when it's time to find the new fruits, you go and you find the new fruits. We all knew the day would come when Rabbi and Rebbetzin Torczyner would say it's time for us to go and find new fruits. But you never want to think about that eventuality. And that day is coming very, very soon. And it's a sad day for us, but a happy day for you. Our blessing to you is that you go on to the next chapter. You find the Yemei, Bikurei, Anavim, the days of the first fruits, wherever you go through life. And continue to spread the light of Torah wherever you find yourselves. The last thing I've been tasked to do is that before this evening, we knew we had a few weeks to plan for this. We sent out an email to all of the alumni of the Beit Midrash Zichron Dov. And we asked the alumni and some of the community rabbanim who are still here in Toronto to reflect upon their relationship with Rabbi Torczyner. It's not a long video. It's a short video packed with some really cool memories. And I'd like to ask Esther Rutledge, if you wouldn't mind, to be able to run the video now. Thank you.
The greatest thing I learned from Rabbi Torczyner was how to be a professional, a friend, and a great Talmid Chacham, all at the same time.
Whether it's a shiur, or it's an article, or it's a drasha, Rabbi Torczyner puts in a ton of time and effort and energy.
We of course know that Rabbi Torczyner is a first-rate Talmid Chacham who has mastered all of Shas, Poskim, incredible Magid Shiur.
Extremely organized person who showed me the value of time management and scholarship and learning and wisdom and memory.
I learned many things from you. Professionalism, diligence, hasmada, respect, integrity, research.
Always make sure you put in the proper preparation so you can give the shiur in a clear, methodical manner.
Rabbi Torczyner would impart the importance of preparation, of presentation, even of how we dress, that all of this would create and have the ability to create honor and give honor to the Torah and to our students.
During my time in the Kollel, day in and day out, Rabbi Torczyner was a well-oiled machine of taking in Torah and putting out Torah at an incredibly high level.
Dedicating every minute in the Beit Midrash in learning and making sure to produce the highest quality of Shaarei Torah.
Rabbi Torczyner has an incredible ability to maximize every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day. Everything is programmed, structured in an amazing way.
When he was learning, he was so incredibly focused. When it was time to take care of many other kollel tasks, there was a methodical efficiency that was fascinating to witness.
Both that commitment to mitzvot and also the constant worrying of his mind to make sure that he's being productive is so amazing, so impressive.
I knew that for every shiur and program that I prepared, he was preparing 5.
He's always planning and thinking ahead of how to use his time and when he'll have a few moments to accomplish another preparation for an upcoming shiur.
To this day, he is my role model for planning ahead and for his rigorous use of time, ensuring every minute is a well-spent one.
Rabbi Torczyner has a unique ability when teaching Torah to reach every Jew at their level and teach to them based on where they're at and relate to and connect to everyone.
Whether you're modern Orthodox, Yeshivish, conservative, reform, any type of Jew, whether you're a young child, whether you're an older adult, Rabbi Torczyner knows how to package the Torah perfectly for you.
And also to present material not only in the English, but also in the Hebrew, so the greatest number of people will be able to understand all the source material.
Rabbi Torczyner is serious about Torah, he loves Torah, and he wants everyone else to appreciate the love and seriousness of Torah as well.
By actively listening to each person's unique story and personal experiences, Rabbi Torczyner fosters a Torah learning environment that encourages individuals to share their thoughts, concerns, and questions freely.
Teaching and sharing and building relationships as well with the people that came to the Beit Midrash, or the people that he was able to influence in the community in his classes.
The greatest thing I learned from Rabbi Torczyner was to always make sure the material you taught, the share you gave, was at the highest level possible, but at the same time to make sure it was available and understandable to the broadest audience possible.
Anybody who goes to a shiur or program that Rabbi Torczyner is in charge of knows that they're going to have an enlightening and educational experience.
I really appreciated that all the time I was in the kollel, he always encouraged me to give shiurim on the things that I found interesting, believing that the excitement that people feel for Torah is overflowing, brings people in.
Rabbi Torczyner lived this every day. He exuded a kavod HaTorah, an honor for Torah, an honor for and love for his students, and this is something that he instilled within us.
When you watch Rabbi Torczyner, you see someone who has truly taken on a mission to fulfill Ratzon Hashem in a maximal fashion.
What was most astonishing to me by Rabbi Torczyner was his tremendous chesed.
Even though that was not maybe what he was known for publicly, it might have been his amazing shiur, it might have been everything else that he did so well. But I know that for many, many people in the city and around the world, it's really that caring person who was able to help them out in their times of need.
Although Rabbi Torczyner is so busy and he's doing so much, he's helping so many people quietly, bitzina, dedicating every moment, every spare moment that he has to help others.
And I also remember that even with all his busyness, when Ezra was born, just a week and a little bit before Pesach, despite it all, when we really couldn't put together a Shalom Zachar, he put it together in his house, which really shows how he goes above and beyond for the people he works with, for his friends, for the people in the community, beyond just the teaching of Torah.
I recall when Rabbi Torczyner and I were working on helping a particular individual. Rabbi Torczyner used his own funds to pay for this person's needs. He didn't bat an eyelash to do a chesed for someone else.
And it was evident in our conversations, in our interactions, First, how much Rabbi Torczyner cared about me, cared about what I was doing. As an Avrech, it's something that we see how much he really cares for all of us tremendously, us and our families, and not only while we're in the kollel, but certainly after as well.
Always being an overseeing individual who saw what we were doing and was interested and helped move us along.
I had a personal shaila that I had to go to him with for advice on what to do in a particular situation, and I'm really not sure that there was anyone that was as sensitive about it, as caring about it. You could see a sense of imo anochi b'tzara, that he was there in the struggle that I was having with me and in the challenge that I was going through. And I know that this is not true just of me, but of so many others.
His sensitivity, love, and great care for each and every Jew is truly inspiring.
I think Rabbi Torczyner is underratedly hilarious. I think sometimes in these Monday meetings, he'll just have these dry one-liners just like under the current. You might not even realize that he just says something that's hilarious, but it's hilarious.
Excellent humor.
Obviously, Rabbi Torczyner is an amazing educator and teacher and rabbi, but something that maybe other people aren't noting in these tributes is his unparalleled, I think, sense of humor.
One of the fondest memories I have is how Rabbi Torczyner would take the time from his commute from Thornhill to Yeshiva Or Chaim, where the Beit Midrash is based, to listen to the shiurim that I'd given the previous week, so that he can give me notes on how to improve myself as a Magid Shiur.
I always remember his little notebook that he has when he davens, so that when ideas rush into his head, because he's always thinking about so many things, he can make sure that he both remembers the idea but is able to clear it out of his mind to daven.
One of the things that really stands out for me from my time in the Beit Midrash is Rabbi Torczyner's leadership. He really found everyone a place and things to do that fit with their personality, but at the same time, I know I felt that I was pushed past my comfort zone so that I could grow and develop during my time with the Beit Midrash.
I'll always remember what Rabbi Torczyner would tell us every year at our orientation meeting. Even though you may appear small or insignificant in your own eyes, you are a leader among the Jewish people.
The greatest thing I learned from Rabbi Torczyner, how to be able to figure out as to how to devote your time and make time for things that are still important, still to be able to find time for family, yet also for personal Talmud Torah, for giving shiurim and going to shivas.
When he would often kindly drive me home from the kollel, we would either be having important conversations, or he would ask me to put on my headphones for a bit so that he could confidentially speak over the phone with someone else about important matters.
I really want to thank Rabbi Torczyner for being a dugma ishit for me.
Rabbi Torczyner has such incredible humility, such a sense of modesty associated with him that it's inspiring to watch.
I once referred to Rabbi Torczyner as my first boss. He was caught off guard a bit because I don't think he thought of it quite that way. He thought of it more that we worked together.
In his teachings, and even more in his actions, Rav Torczyner always stressed and embodied the significance of exactness and attention to detail in all aspects of our Avodat HaKodesh.
I remember there was a time where some of the Avrechim and I came to you to approach you about a program we wanted to start. And we thought it was a good idea. And so to convince you, we said, well, there's also a number of people in the community that want this. And the response we received was, well, what number? We said, a number of people. And you said, well, is it 50, 5, or 0? Those are all numbers. And that lesson has stuck with me.
Overall, Rav Torczyner's teaching have had a profound impact on my professional life as a Rav and my personal life, attempting to be a mensch.
Mazel tov and congratulations on this much-deserved honor. And kol hakavod and shekach on the tremendous work and impact you've had in the Toronto community over these years.
We'll remember you and cherish those relationships for a long time.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner, for pushing me to become a better educator, a better rabbi, and most importantly, a better person.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner, for being a tremendous role model and leader.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you for all the years and all the wisdom and all the Torah scholarship and personal relationships that you've built here in the community.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
For everything you've done for me and for our family and taught us Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner, for everything.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner.
Rabbi Mordechai, for being such an exceptional teacher and dear friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner. Thank you, my dear friend.
Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner, for everything that you've given for me and for all of us in the Beit Midrash and in the greater Toronto area.
Thank you, Rabbi Taylor. I need this a bit hard. Beit Midrash Zichron Dov was named in memory of my dear father, Dov ben Mordechai Bill Rubenstein. I'm very pleased to have here this evening my father's other child, my dear sister Rochelle, as well as all of her children and my children, at least the ones who have not yet taken up Rabbi Korotkin's exhortation to move to Israel. Our father was born in 1908 in the Hungarian village of Szent István, the 11th in a family of 12 children. By the time he entered the world, the Rubensteins were the only Jewish family remaining in the village. Quite remarkably, this did not prevent them from living a fully traditional Jewish life. In the absence of formal Jewish education, the children picked up whatever they needed to know through what Dr. Chaim Soloveitchik called mimetic tradition. They learned by example, observing and internalizing the religious practices of their parents in the family home. My father endured much heartache during the Second World War. Drafted into a forced labor battalion, he was far away when the Jews of the district, including his first wife and 2 young sons, his elderly mother and other family members, were sent to their deaths in Auschwitz. After the war, he set out to salvage the shattered pieces of his life as best he could. He left Hungary together with a few surviving relatives and his new wife, languishing for 3 years in an Italian refugee camp where I was born, because no one in the world wanted homeless Jews. Finally, the opportunity arose to emigrate to Canada, where survivors could work hard and build new lives, unburdened by the hatreds of the old world. Confronting an unfamiliar new reality, my father sought stability in the timeless Jewish heritage of his early days. Among other things, he was determined that his children, growing up in the well-ordered community of Toronto, would receive the kind of Jewish education unavailable to him in his youth. And as soon as he attained a degree of financial security, he began supporting Jewish educational institutions to benefit his fellow Jews. Ever unassuming, he shunned public acknowledgement, satisfied that after all he had endured, he was now in a blessed position to do good for others. My father passed away in 2007, just short of his 99th birthday. Although he would be perturbed to know that Beit Midrash Zichron Dov bears his name, he would surely approve wholeheartedly of the principles upon which it was founded, to wit, 1. Cultivating a strong Jewish identity predicated on devotion to living a life of Torah and mitzvot. 2. Self-confidently, though critically, engaging and interacting with the world at large. 3. Acknowledging the profound religious significance of the establishment and flourishing of the State of Israel in our time. 4. Incorporating wisdom of abiding value, whatever its source, into our Torah, thereby enriching it. And 5. Teaching Torah from elementary to advanced levels and in a variety of formats across a broad spectrum of the community, including women, university students, and professionals. And although they never met, I have no doubt that my dear father would approve wholeheartedly of the man who is the very personification of these principles, whom we brought to Toronto to establish and lead Beit Midrash Zichron Dov. Standing before you as we approach the end of the program, I ask myself how I can possibly augment the glowing words of the Rabbanim who preceded me, and the numerous Skanim and Avrechim who you saw in the video, and who have graced the Beit Midrash over the years. So, allow me to add one more voice to the exuberant chorus. Thank you, Rabbi Torczyner. We were all highly impressed when we first met you, and everyone agreed that you would make an excellent inaugural Rosh Beit Midrash. But you proceeded to astonish us by getting better and better over the years. Rabbi Torczyner, we wish you and your family all the very best as you transition to the next stage of your journey. The Toronto Jewish community has been most fortunate to have had you with us these past 14 years, and we shall miss you terribly. But we know that you have prepared a shining path for those who will follow, inspired by your exceptional personal example. Rabbi Torczyner, could you please come up? It is an honor and a pleasure to present you with a gift on behalf of Beit Midrash Zichron Dov. This is a sculpture for your new home, commemorating our cherished Yerushalayim Yer HaKodesh. It was handcrafted of Jerusalem stone by the well-known Israeli artist Michael Kupiecki and inscribed with the carved and painted words, Im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yemini. Hold on to that for a second. which is in here, but it's, if you turn it around for you to see it, you still won't be able to read it. So let me tell you what's on there. The accompanying plaque reads as follows. Lulei Toratcha Sha'ashurai Az Avadati Gohanyi. Presented to Rabbi Mordechai Torczyner. Your vast Torah erudition, exceptional teaching ability, and selfless dedication have immeasurably enriched the Toronto Jewish community. Your influence will be felt for generations. May Hashem bless you, Karen, and your entire family. With deepest thanks and appreciation, Beit Midrash Zichron Dov.
Sorry to be standing in the way of dessert. We invited everybody here for a dessert reception and they're all sitting here. Rishos HaRabbanim, Rishos everybody. Thank you to Shaarei Shomayim for hosting this evening. Rabbi Taylor, Rabbi Karabkin, who has his son's Sheva Brachos. He got married last night, but he came here. To Ellie and to Renee, to Craig, who had a vision for what we should be doing this evening. To all the sponsors who gave to this and to the Kiddush at the Bayit this past Shabbos, and very much to Esther and to Aya, for putting all of this together. I'm floored to see so many people here. I know there were at least 2 weddings, graduations at both Chat and Tiferes Beis Yaakov, and former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett speaking in the community. There were even free tickets available. And then I think of what our Avrei Rabbi David Zirkin once said. He said, if you're going to wait until a night when nothing is going on, you're basically saying this is only worth going to when you have nothing else to do. Thank you for coming tonight when you do have something else to do. This was really hard to write. Is it personal reflection? Is it a set of thank yous? Is it a drasha? Is it an encapsulation of 14 years? So I decided it's basically a personal reflection followed by a set of thank yous, followed by a short drasha which tries to encapsulate the mission we've been working on for 14 years. I hope the dessert doesn't melt. In my Tuesday afternoon series this year, we've been learning about 3 books credited to Shlomo HaMelech, to King Solomon, Shir HaShirim, in which he describes how Hashem loves each of us and Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people as a whole. Mishlei, in which he teaches that the world is just and bad behavior is punished and good behavior is rewarded. And Koheles, in which he argued that from a human perspective, neither of the above is true. Most of us look around our world in discomfort and dismay, not perceiving the divine love or reciprocation for our actions. And in my best self, Yom Kippur, at the Seder, then I'm a Shir HaShirim and a Mishlei. But confession time, on a day-to-day basis, like many people, I'm quite often a Koheles. Not seeing the order and the reciprocity and the way things are working out all right, I tend to feel very uneasy. So thank you all for being here to say, no, it's okay, our Beit Midrash has achieved some success. Thank you for all the warm remarks, and I don't know who did that video, but that was stunning. Thank you for showing me the Shir HaShirim and the Mishnah, the ways in which things have gone well. Well, let's be clear, and now we segue to the thank yous. Koheles says that when things work out positively, Matas Elokim Hi. Hashem is the one who made it happen. And that's certainly been true for our Beit Midrash. Hashem has removed the obstacles from our way, and He's given us the opportunities and the means to succeed. And on a human level, the members of the Beit Midrash have been the ones to make much of this happen. Our Sganim have been outstanding. What a group. Rabbi Azariah Berzon, Rabbi Baruch Weintraub, Rabbi Jonathan Ziering, Rabbi Eliyahu Abbey, Rabbi Sammy Bergman, and for the past 2 years, Rabbi Ian Standig and Rabbi Mann. Our Avreichim, originally I told Karen that I was going to make this speech just a list of the Avreichim and something that each of them brought to the Beit Midrash. Karen wisely didn't say anything. But the next morning, when I said to her, I changed my mind. She's like, yeah, I figured that was going to happen. But I will list them. They deserve at least to be listed. Rabbi Ezra Deanna, Rabbi Adam Freiberg, Rabbi Adam Friedman, Rabbi Ezra Goldschmidt, Rabbi Steven Gotlib, Rabbi David Eli Grunland, Rabbi Josh Gutenberg, Rabbi Alex Hecht, Rabbi Hillel Horowitz, Rabbi Natal Javasky, Rabbi Natal Klein, Rabbi Russell Levy, Rabbi Meir Lipschitz, Rabbi Yair Manis, Rabbi Chaim Metzger, Rabbi Ron Peretz, Rabbi Don Rakowski, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Rosenzweig, Rabbi David Teller, Rabbi David Zirkin, and Rabbi Tamar Zolberg. And I have to say, while they were very flattering on the video, my responsibilities in the community, and more likely my general shortcomings, have perpetually distracted me from being the manager they deserved and the coach they deserved within the Beit Midrash. But those members of the Beit Midrash have more than made up for my weaknesses. The wives of our Skanim and Avreichim, can't thank them enough. They saw the value in what we were doing, and they joined in so many ways, from teaching classes themselves, to staffing registration desks at programs, to hosting Shabbaton lunches with their husbands, to putting up with sometimes ridiculous hours and expectations. I mentioned Dan, I mention him again, because of all you did to make this happen. Shoshana Newman, our program director years ago, and Esther, our current executive director, as well as the many members of the Bnei Akiva School's office who have helped us with events and promotion. You see Daniel walking around taking pictures. You wouldn't realize that he's also the power behind our graphic design and promotion. And beyond the members of our Beit Midrash, our generous community of supporters made this happen. The original group of founders who wanted to support a Torah Mitzvah on Kollel and or an extension of the Yeshiva University Beit Midrash, and I want to especially mention Mrs. Mira Kashitsky Zichron Dov, who passed away this week, and who was among those supporters I first met in February 2009. Very much somebody who made Beit Midrash Zichron Dov a reality. The supporters of the original fundraising dinner in 2008 in memory of Mr. Bill Rubenstein Zichron Livracha, and especially Mr. Aaron Frankel Zichron Livracha, Mr. Kurt Rothschild Zichron Livracha, who galvanized the community. Canadian Friends of Yeshiva University, who did our fundraising for the first 9 years or so of the Beit Midrash, and provided so much administrative support. Rabbi Seth Brower, humbly sitting off to the side, but who recognized the value of our Beit Midrash, and he has worked tirelessly on so many fronts, from finances to personnel to program opportunities. I don't know too many people, if any, who have more meetings than he does, but he comes to me and he says to me, we should meet once a week to sit and talk about whatever's going on in the Beit Midrash. Really, contributing in a big way to make our Beit Midrash a success. Thank you. as well as the BAS Development Administrative Offices who have helped so much for our Beit Midrash over the last several years. I want to thank our affiliate organizations, Torah Mitzion and Yeshiva University, and our partners in so many community organizations. The shul rabbis and the assistant rabbis. Special mention to somebody who visited the community just this past Shabbos, Rabbi Yoshua Weber, who welcomed us so warmly into Clanton Park, our original Beit Midrash in 2009. The office staff of each shul, I don't know what the members realize about what the office staff does, but there are some real stars who make everything happen. The adult ed chairs, the shul presidents. The school administrations, not only at Bnei Akiva schools, but at Associated Hebrew schools, at Chat, at Char, Netivot, Eitz Chaim, Tiferes, Nefesh David, all of whom have welcomed us in. Our partners at JLIC, who have done so much for us and with us. Mizrahi Canada, and the constellation of Mizrahi-affiliated organizations, Mosheva Enesmor, Mosheva Ba'ir, Bnei Akiva. Limud, the adult education arms of the Prasim and JCC, the Mount Nidal JCC, UJA, and our community of people who learn. Because having a shiur requires participants. You turned our learning opportunities into something durable and meaningful, from 4 people at a Minchas Chinuch shiur in Clanton Park in 2009, I see some of you here, to 30 people learning together through the break on 14 Yom Kippurs, to 50 people last Wednesday morning at Beth Emeth, to more than 80 people at a panel discussion at the Bayit this past Shabbos, to hundreds of doctors and lawyers participating in community education classes, continuing education classes, to the readers of 580 weekly issues of Toronto Torah. It's not the Beit Midrash, it's the community. It doesn't happen without the community. That adult Seder Boker, the Rabbi Yaris spoke about a little bit, which learned alongside us daily. The university, Chaverim, Rabbi Standing talked about, some of whom are here today. I'm so glad you made it back for it. The women's Beit Midrash participants who were role models at Ulpana pre-COVID and remained role models for us afterwards with their evening programs, and the women who directed it, Mrs. Oreziring, Eliezer Peretz, Eliana Abbey, Shira Metzger, Sarin Standig, and now Orly Aziza and Kinneret Whitty. The Chavrusas who came to learn with us in the Beit Midrash, the Ramim and the students of Yeshivat Or Chaim who came to learn with us in a range of ways. And Karen. I've been a rabbi since 1996, in one form or another. I think once I tried to speak about Karen publicly, and I learned. The rest says no, the answer is no. So I'm not going to say more than that. But anything I've done rests on her shoulders in ways I can't begin to describe. And on the shoulders of my children who also don't want to be mentioned. And on the shoulders of my parents and the teachers and mentors I've had over the years. And now the short drasha and mission part. When I came to Toronto for my first visit, February 2009, King Solomon's Table, Olav Shalom. Founders of our Beit Midrash described 3 missions. To become a home Beit Midrash for university students, to provide rabbinic training for young rabbis, and to become a flagship Torah institution for the YU-oriented religious Zionist community. I knew what the first one meant, creating a Beit Midrash for university students. We fulfilled the rabbinic training mission by building a Beit Midrash that started out with 3 daily Siddharim, okay, became 2. A wealth of practical opportunities to develop skills in learning, teaching, and programming. They far outstripped anything that I could teach. But defining that third mission, becoming a flagship, was more challenging. As one of our original Avreichim, Rabbi Nathaniel Javasky, said, we're not just Lakewood with blue shirts. don't think I've ever worn a blue shirt. High school, maybe. But what are we? And I came to believe that being a flagship means to unite individuals of diverse lives, from diverse Jewish backgrounds, in one Jewish community of Torah learning. And that meant being broad ourselves, with members from Israel and Chutz La'aretz, soon to be Israel, with members with a range of viewpoints who had learned in a range of yeshivot. It meant being willing to go to a broad spectrum of places, homes, businesses, shuls, schools, community centers, within the observing community and beyond it, to learn Torah with people. What Rabbi Man talked about as the Badei Ha'aron, we've done collectively. It meant promoting and presenting Torah, which is authentic, rigorous, and stimulating, never pandering, never condescending, never simplistic, and always in a way that is welcoming and respectful. And it meant one more aspect, creativity. In a recent Toronto Torah article, Rabbi Steven examined the prayer in which we ask Hashem, "V'sei nichalkeinu b'sarasecha," give us our portion in your Torah. What does that request mean? As Rabbi Steven explained, and as is found in the writings of the Shla and the Gomagon, it means that each of us holds a special portion in Torah which we can uniquely reveal and share. And each of us can contribute to the Torah itself. Those who are divided on Shabbos heard me say this, but a little review. Rav Samson Raphael Hirsch wrote that any Jew in any era is free to add to the Torah's Haggadah, the stories and explorations of values that don't change Jewish law. Rabbi Yom Tov Lippman Heller wrote in his Tosfos Yom Tov that any Jew in any era is free to explain a Mishnah as they see fit, so long as it doesn't challenge standing Jewish law. Rav Yosef Dov Soloveitchik pointed out that a prophet is not able to teach any new idea within Torah, but a chacham, a scholar, is able to make halakhic determinations based on personal intellect. Each of us can be creative. It matters for our Beit Midrash because the community we seek to serve and unite in Torah learning is one that embraces creativity, that values the voice of each individual. So we need to express that in our Beit Midrash, when we learn on our own, and certainly when we spread Torah with others. October 2009, a month after our Beit Midrash began, we held a launch program at the Beit. In opening the event, I quoted the 30th chapter of Tehillim, the song of Chanukah Sabayit, of dedication. Our Mimcha Hashem ki dilisani, I exalt you, Hashem, for you have elevated me. David used the word dilisani, dilitani, that's one of the artifacts of the Beit Midrash, but it's done to me. I don't know if I'm Ashkenaz or Sephardi anymore. David used the word dilisani. It doesn't just mean Hashem elevated me. It means Hashem elevated me from the depths, like using a deli, a pail, to draw life-giving water from a deep, dark well. When we start a new venture, when we attain a new height, we turn and look back at where we were, and we recognize that we had been missing something. We didn't feel that we were in the depths before. But once we succeed, once we create something robust, something rejuvenating, then we understand I was in the depths comparatively, even though I didn't know it. And Hashem has elevated me. The city of Toronto, with its wealth of Torah institutions and teachers, was certainly not in any depths before the Beit Midrash came into existence. But now that it's here, we see what we needed all along. We recognize that we have achieved great heights, thank God. I look forward to our Beit Midrash achieving even greater heights in the years to come. With continued siyata dishmaya help from Hashem, with Rabbi Sonnenberg, Rabbi Mann, Esther Rutledge, leading the different aspects of the Beit Midrash, with Rabbi Standig, Yidan Rakowski, and others giving shiurim here in the GTA for the Beit Midrash. And God willing, I will be coming back for Scholar in Residence, Shabbat Zonim, giving some of the professional ethics classes online, writing for Toronto Torah, participating in whatever way I'm able. As I said at the outset, thank you for all you've done to demonstrate that our Torah has been appreciated. God willing, and with your continued support in the Day of Giving next week, there will be much more growth in the years ahead. Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing evening, what an incredible program. Thank you so much everyone for coming to honor Beit Midrash Zichron Dov. Thank you so much everyone for coming to honor Rabbi Torczyner. May the Beit Midrash go from strength to strength, and may we continue together to achieve great things. Ma'ariv will take place in a few minutes. The dessert buffet is now open. Thank you so much.